What's up, family? It's the original Nagamaya, and thank you for coming back for part 3. These are tarot cards as they relate to the IVF/fertility journey. All right, so let's get it started. A couple of people DM'd me and asked me straight up, what are the cards in general that you got that told you that you would be producing an egg, that you would have an egg to make it to blastocyst stage, or have an egg to be successfully transferred into you. So these are the cards. Remember, I mentioned this card last time. The Knight of Pentacles told me that, you know, the whole procedure would be a little bit slow, but that it would happen. Look at him. He's holding a pentacle, which I explained in the last video, for me meant the embryo or the blastocyst or the egg, okay, the baby. So that's the pentacle that the Knight of Pentacles is holding. That was my lucky egg, right? I made 8 of them and had them PGS tested. However, it was only 1 egg that I put back in, and it split into 2, okay, into twins. All right, so Knight of Pentacles, and some other cards that told me straight up that I would be successful, because I used to ask my tarot deck, will I have a baby? Will an egg make it? I used to be very straight up and very insistent. This card also, which I believe I mentioned at some point, the Queen of Wands, shows a woman who gets what she wants. Like, she doesn't stop until she gets what she wants, and she's successful in it. So this card definitely, she's also a sexy person, and you know, to me that had to do with fertility, you know what I'm saying? So this was definitely another indicator that I would be successful. I mentioned this card last time, the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups, someone DM'd me asking, like, where's the fish? Here's the fish right here. Do you guys see the fish right now? Okay, right here in the cup. A lot of times this card represents news of pregnancy, news of birth. All right, and I explained why. The fish is related to the way the embryo or the fetus is formed in the woman's body. All right, if you know biology. All right, so that's the Page of Cups. That told me that, you know, yes, success. Okay, another one, a very obvious one, is the Empress. Okay, represents, it's probably the strongest card in the deck that represents pregnancy, is the Empress. I got this card a lot, and every time I got it, I was like, yes. All right. Another card, I mentioned this last time, she looks like she's in a wicker baby shower chair, one of those wicker chairs. The Queen of Cups. She has a lot to do with romance, being a good host, sensitivity, love, beauty. It just has that soft, gentle feeling, like motherhood, you know, like that's how I felt when I was pregnant, you know. So definitely Queen of Cups right away. Getting that card often told me that, you know, I was on the path. This was yet another card. The Nine of Pentacles was telling me that I was going to complete this thing. 9 is a number of completion, at least of physical completion. All right. And take a look at the eggs. I mentioned to you that I saved up 8 eggs to get PGS tested, and then picked the highest grade one out of them to transfer back. The 8 of Pentacles didn't really go with that message. So Tarot was like, boom, I'm gonna give you 9 of Pentacles, even though I didn't make 9 eggs. It was telling me, you know, that I would be abundant. I would make all the eggs that I needed to make, at least. And, you know, I would be fertile. So this card definitely told me that. Another Queen, Queen of Pentacles. She also looks like she's in the baby chair, the baby shower chair. And she's also like head bent downwards, as though she's holding and loving and admiring her baby. Because that pentacle definitely always meant the egg for me. So this was a very clear image, very clear message. The Page of Wands, here's a new one that I don't think I discussed before. The Page of Wands brings inflammatory news. However, inflammatory is not always negative. Inflammatory can be just like, woo, like exciting news, like unexpected news, or news that kind of tears your whole world apart. You know, like pregnancy is even if you want it a lot, when it happens, you're like, whoa, I wasn't sure if it would happen or not. And for me, finding out that I was pregnant with not just one baby, but two babies, twins, unexpected, it was big news for me, and I wasn't sure how to handle it because it was very intimidating. I'm kind of like a small person, you know. So she said, oh, both your babies are okay. I said, say what? I sat up in the chair. So Page of Wands giving me that news, that shocking news. Okay, another card that told me that I would get pregnant. Actually, this guy reminded me of one of the egg retrieval doctors. I was so lucky at that place to get some of the most gentle doctors that I've ever experienced in my life. And there was this one guy, I always used to hope and pray that I get him on the day of my retrieval. Of course, you're never really sure which egg retrieval doctor is going to be working on the day that your egg retrieval is planned. Another thing is that you don't know when you're going to be due for an egg retrieval because it depends on when your egg is mature. They test your blood and they tell you when to come back. They can tell when the egg is ready, and then you take a trigger shot at home, which helps to release the egg, and then they retrieve it. So this guy represented like that doctor retrieving the egg for me, right? He's a male figure. Now, sometimes in tarot, some people don't pay attention to gender. For me, my tarot has always been on point with the gender of who it was talking about, for the most part. So I interpreted this as the doctor holding that egg. Like he did it. Because another part of IVF is, even if you make the egg and it's healthy and everything, there's so many steps. Like you have to have a skilled egg retrieval doctor who's going to be able to capture the egg with the microscopic needle. It's kind of like a needle and a suction. So there are a lot of steps to it. So to me, that was his success, you know, which was my success, right? Okay, Page of Pentacles. Now the page is a boy, but he's a very young boy, and not really as grown into his full masculinity. So for the Page of Pentacles, I always kind of read the page as like, could be male, could be female. And I always saw it as me, just because of the physicality of the person in the tarot picture, holding up that egg. It was like me celebrating and even looking at it in wonderment. See, that's me saying, holy shit, I freaking made an egg and it's healthy. Like, that's me. That was my reaction. So Page of Pentacles definitely told me that. And the Ace of Pentacles, it's similar to the page, you know, holding that egg, that pentacle in its hand. It's a gift. It is a gift, a surprise gift from God. And then I know I keep going back to this card, but this card kept telling me, another interpretation of this card in tarot is that you will overcome a sickness. You will overcome a bad spell. And I kept getting her. So I was like, yes, thank you. So those are cards that were very direct about it. And now I wanted to share with you guys, you know, in order for me to do these videos, I got to be real with you and tell you a lot of the different private pieces of my journey. So it took me a while to muster up the courage to actually do this. So I will tell you that along my IVF journey, I realized from the first IVF clinic, and see, everything happens for a reason, because even though I did not stay with the first IVF clinic, they served its purpose, because the doctor at that one, although he was not successful with IVF with me, and he had kind of a low IVF success rate with other women as well. I love this personality, which, you know, didn't really matter, but he was great at cutting or removing, like doing surgery to remove things. I almost feel like this is what he should have gone into instead of IVF, but I guess IVF is where the money was, you know. But so check this out. Along my IVF journey, I found out that I had not a cyst, not a fibroid, but a polyp in the canal, and it had to be removed. It was hurting my chances of conceiving a baby, okay, because it was not a good environment for an egg to grow in. So I had to have the polyp removed, And they had to put a tube down my throat. You know, don't get nervous. This was a something very rare. Okay, it's something very rare. I don't believe this will happen to any of you. It is unrelated to the IVF journey. But anyway, before I could even go deeper into my IVF journey, I had to get the polyp removed. So everything happens for a reason. Why did I go to the first guy who I didn't stay with? Because he was meant to remove the polyp for me. And he was an ace at removing stuff. I remember in his office, he had a picture. Me and my partner always thought it was weird because he had a picture of a polyp that he had removed from another woman. He had a picture of it, like the 3D sonogram, whatever, and he had it framed. We always had jokes. But anyway, my warning in the tarot that something was wrong was the moon. Now, the moon is tied to the menstrual cycle and to the reproductive system in general. Whenever a woman gets the moon card, it means secrets and deception, and that you have to be careful of people being double-sided. But it also has a lot to do with the menstrual cycle, and it's telling you, or the reproductive system, and it's telling you that something is not right with your whole lady system, right? The moon is a very important card in this journey. Pay attention when you get it and do your research, you know, look into things. It was also telling me this card. This is the card that represents sickness or hard times. It could be also poverty. This is the Five of Pentacles. So for me, it was telling me, you know, coupled with this card, it was telling me that something was wrong and that I had to get it fixed. And when this doctor worked on me, well, first of all, when he told me that I had the polyp, he was like the Knight of Swords. He was kind of like swooping in at fast speed, telling me, you know, Naga, you're going to have to do, as I said, say what? I didn't even, polyp. I'm not even here for a polyp, you know. And he's also wielding a sword. Check it out. And that guy was the one who removed the polyp for me. So it really definitely fit in with my situation. And this card sometimes came up as well, the Knight of Wands. He was almost excited to remove it, you know. I believed in him, though. He showed me the polyp. I saw it. He wasn't lying. But he was kind of like this figure. So sometimes your doctor may, if your doctor tells you news along your fertility journey, and if the news is maybe not so good, or the news kind of worries you a little bit, you may get a card like that. So just, if you do, just prepare yourself mentally, you know, small steps for everything. And this card was closely related to, so this is the Seven of Wands. You know, standing up for your beliefs in a fight, basically, standing up for yourself, taking that last stand. And it was always coupled with the Strength card for me. It was telling me to, you know, prepare myself, expect a battle. It was being honest. My tarot doesn't lie to me. She tells me the truth. Like, prepare yourself. You're gonna have some pain, but you're gonna be all right. All right. And often I would get this card reassuring me that there would be light at the end of the journey, of the battle. The Star card. Okay. Even if it did not amount in a baby, it was telling me that I would have peace of mind, you know. That doctor also sometimes appeared as this card, as the Six of Pentacles. He was helping me. This is the card of when you can perform a service to help others, you're sharing your wealth or your services with others. And that is what he did. He definitely delivered me. Again, everything happens for a reason. God bless him. I hope he's doing well. Okay, and this card also told me of bad news. I spoke of this card last time. And take a look at the swords in it. I had a lot of experiences throughout my IVF journey that involved things that looked like swords and needles, you know. I was being cut. I was being injected. You know what I'm saying? I even did acupuncture, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. So this card, the Three of Swords, okay, definitely told me that, you know, it would be news that I'm not gonna like, but it's all good because you need to face it. This would always tell me that there was something that I needed to research. It was coming up a lot before I found out about the polyp that I had, but I didn't know what to make of it. You know, I did, like, what was it talking about? What did I need to find out? I wasn't sure, but it was, at least it forced me to look deeper, to keep looking, you know, and I did eventually find my way. The Page of Swords is another card that told me that I needed to have more spycraft and vigilance and surveillance. You know, I needed to look into things more deeply. It also had to do with me leaving the first IVF clinic and going to a second clinic and then the third clinic, which eventually made me successful. I had to do a lot of research to commit to the one, to decide on which one. And I mentioned this card before. I had to put my emotions aside in order to do so. I had to think logically. And I mentioned acupuncture, so just wanted to show you guys something. All right. So whenever this card came up, it would always show that I would be in mental and emotional anguish. And I spoke to you about all the sleepless nights that I had, all the doubt, the worry, right? So this is the Nine of Swords. This was on a more emotional level. I want you to know that this was not the acupuncture card for me. This never meant acupuncture for me. These are the cards that meant acupuncture. Get ready for this. The Ten of Swords. Take a look at how it looks. I mean, if you were to pretend that those swords were needles, pretty much it's acupuncture. My tarot deck was trying to tell me to do acupuncture, and sometimes it was connected with the Hierophant and with the High Priestess, and I'll tell you what they have to do with it. And sometimes with the Magician. Let me explain how these cards are connected, okay? How I read the message. So in the IVF fertility world, the Western doctors sometimes try to discredit Eastern medicine or Eastern ways of healing. However, my tarot deck was telling me, you know, I mentioned that this card for me meant go back to my people's ways, you know. This card also meant to become more spiritual. And this card, the Magician, was telling me, you know, try different things, communicate, perform alchemy, because that is what my IVF journey, when I succeeded in making the egg, it was really spiritual and material alchemy that I had performed inside my stomach, inside my womb. I did it with my mind. I formed the matter. You know, matter is like the word mater, M-A-T-E-R, which means in Latin, mother. That is what mothers do. Mothers perform alchemy. We take material and we mix it up in our wombs and we turn it into another human being, into another life. That's what we do. That's what we can do. So it was telling me to go do some acupuncture, you know, to look into my Eastern ways. Another card that sometimes was pointing to acupuncture was this card. Okay. The Four of Swords. This means something very different in tarot. Okay. But for me on the IVF journey, it was telling me to do acupuncture. It was also telling me that I would be going through more surgery, because it's also me laying down in a bed and, you know, having the sort, you know, as well as this one. Sometimes it meant surgery too. But for the most part, it was nudging me, I should say, towards acupuncture. So my second IVF clinic, the doctor told me, you know, you are over 35. My first consultation, he sat me down and he showed me some pamphlets. This is how much eggs a woman has when they are in their 20s to 29. Next pamphlet. This is how much eggs, follicles a woman has when they are age 30 to 34. And this is where you are, 35 and up. This is how many eggs you had. And it was down to like very low percentage. I can't remember how low it was, but it was scary. It was really scary. he was this guy for me, the King of Swords. He was being very honest. He believed in what he was saying. He was being forthright with me. And he didn't think it would happen for me. He really didn't. And I respect his honesty. I reject his lack of faith. But I respected his honesty. The King of Swords. He was also like, so this card has a different meaning in tarot. It means that things would be ended correctly. You would get, the outcome would be just. It's more like a legal card though, but he was a little bit like that too, kind of like this legal figure, you know, giving me the decree that this is what would happen. And I had to turn a blind eye. I made a conscious decision to ignore him. It broke my heart. He basically brought me in there to tell me, look, I think you should adopt another embryo. He was trying to get me. He didn't think I would do it. I don't think he was doing it as a money-making thing, because honestly, I think he would have made more money if he put me through the surgery. If I adopted an embryo, it would have been through another agency, and I would have had to pay the other agency. They didn't do embryo adoption at that particular clinic. Anyway, it broke my heart. He said, you need to look into adopting an embryo. He didn't have faith in me. He didn't think I could do it. You know, so I had to rely on the other faith, the other strength that I was summoning. And I was getting this card as well. I forgot to include this in the stack that told me that I would indeed be successful in having children. And I had to also summon up the Chariot. So the Chariot is actually a person at rest. Think of them as a person in their car, thinking about where to go next and setting their GPS for those coordinates. I had to be that person. Okay, like, what do I do now? But this person on the Chariot is ready to go. They're just not in motion yet. And that's how I was. I was like, I had the strength, I had the faith, but I wasn't really sure where to go next. These are some other cards that told me that I would be successful. The Ten of Pentacles. Oh, actually, this stack is actually about indications that you're going to have twins. Now, in the IVF process, a lot of clinics recommend women putting in 2 eggs instead of 1 egg, because they figure that 1 egg might not work, so might as well put in another one. The clinic where I ended up at, the third clinic where I was successful, they were so successful and so cocky about it that they told me, do not put in 2 eggs because you're going to get pregnant with both. So I was like, all right, I'll put in just 1. But guess what? That 1 egg split. And the splitting of the egg had nothing to do with IVF. It was just a random thing. And they say that identical twins are not even genetic. It's just kind of a random thing that happens. So anyway, these are some cards that told me that I would have twins. Take a look at this card. The Ten of Pentacles has 2 dogs in it. Okay, and it shows legacy being passed on. You see an older generation person, old man here, and the couple with the many pentacles. But the twin part was like completion, you know, the 2 dogs. I always see dogs as like family. I grew up with dogs. I don't have a dog now, but I grew up as a child with dogs. So I always loved to hug them, and they always made me feel like they were family members. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. God bless all the dogs. They are our loves, our companions. Okay, the Lovers is another card that told me that the divine feminine and divine masculine would come together and create this life, the egg. It also is supposed to be a card that indicates twins, all right? Twins. Now, I did not have fraternal twins. I had two girls, identical twin girls. So, you know, don't pay mind to the gender being different. So this is another indicator that you may have twins. Another indicator, I mean, I knew that I only put in 1 egg, but I ended up with two kids. So when I got this card, like the night before I would put in the egg, I kept getting this card, and I was like, I don't understand. What is it trying to tell me? Now, the tarot interpretation of this is shifting your projects to keep them in balance. But that's not what was going on in my life. I was all about the IVF. I wasn't shifting anything in my mind. So I was perplexed, but it ended up meaning twins. You can see why, right? Two of Pentacles. This card, take a look at the two kids. All right. So when I got this card, I said, okay, maybe this IVF would be successful, and then I would do another IVF in the future that would give me a second child. I didn't expect the one egg to split, but there you go. Another twin card, all right? The Ten of Cups. Contentments. At least on the material plane. And the Devil card, funny enough, so let me explain this. The Devil card usually means bondage and excess and addiction. You know, being a victim to your own mentality, your own excesses. However, for me, sometimes when the tarot deck would get tired of showing me this card or this card, which more outright. So this is the Two of Cups. This card, it shows a male and female again, and they're intertwined and they're creating something. But it's really also a twin card. So this kept coming up and I was just like, what is it trying to tell me, you know? This card, by the way, represents Gemini. And this card is just, it's two people and then there are two cups. And I think of the fertility, I always associate it with water and with, you know, with love. But this card would sometimes come up when tarot got tired of putting out the same cards. It was like, all right, let me tell you this in a different way. So it was like, you know, take a look at the two figures in the Devil card. Twins. And it almost looks like the Devil could almost be like a mother. And the two people are attached to her womb. Do you guys see how this could be like an umbilical cord? Which really bugs me out. So yeah, that was actually one of my twin indicators. And this card I'm going to end off this segment with. The baby shower, the celebration card. You know, this was a wonderful card to get. And it told me that the journey would end in success. There's no other way to read this card except for success. All right. And that is what I wish for all of you. If you would like to DM me any questions about the IVF process, please check out my Instagram page, Nagamayan. That's Nagamayan. All right. That is my handle. Feel free to DM me. That is part of my purpose here on Earth. You know, I just came into my purpose recently, one of my purposes, and I really would like to help other women who are going through what I went through. So if I can help you with free, if you want information, you want to know what acupuncturist I went to, if you are in the New York area, I will let you know that. If you want to ask questions about the IVF clinic or about medication, you know, I'm not a doctor, but I can sure tell you what worked for me. Not everything works the same for everyone, but if you would like to know, you know, in order to explore things, I'm more than willing to tell you. All right, so that's all for right now, and I'm gonna check you next time with, I think, the last of the 4 videos. All right, peace.